Good evening. Welcome back to Me Being Cheap. Tonight I would like to tell you about one of my favorite things to buy. This is I think, one of the most efficient ways, cheapest ways to get protein. A lot of protein, a lot of versatile protein for cheap. So I'm going to tell you tonight about the whole chicken. So let me grab my whiteboard. All right, so for the whole chicken, I get mine from a local farmer. He charges $2 a pound. His chickens are about 4 to 5 pounds. So we're talking about $8 a chicken. Most of them are pretty close to 4 pounds. So what can you get with a whole chicken? Well, if you cook it in a stock pot and after it's cooked, peel the meat off, you're going to get about 2 quarts of meat. So that's 2 quarts. I'll set this down. You're also going to get the chicken stock. Now, this is about 3/4 of a gallon. This chicken stock is actually double strength. I had another chicken carcass that was in my freezer that I threw in to cook it down. So it's double strength. It's pretty rich broth there. The other thing that you will get is an assortment of bones, chicken skin, and the meat that's left on the bones. And I'll show you that there. There's a measuring cup in there. We'll talk a little bit about this in a minute. So what all can we do as far as meals with 2 quarts of chicken and 3/4 of a gallon of chicken stock? Well, let's talk about the broth first. With the broth, you can make a soup. I'm going to make a barley soup. And in the barley soup, I'm going to use some of the chicken broth. I may put a little bit of milk in there for cream. Onion. Maybe some potato. Carrot. And probably some corn. And then, of course, your spices. The next thing that you can do is make chicken and dumplings. Now this broth is pretty rich, so I may or may not add a little bit of chicken to it. You can actually make your own dumplings or an alternative, which I don't think is the best, but it certainly is an alternative. If you have any tortillas that are getting a little stale and you need to use them up, you can cut those and make your dumplings out of tortillas. Okay, so that's 2 meals made out of the stock. The next thing that you can do is cook your rice in it. I have some instant rice, not my favorite, but I do have some instant rice I need to use up. You can put some chicken stock in that, as well as some of the tomato sauce. This is from my garden. And some seasoning, some spices, and make a Spanish rice that you can have if you're having Mexican food one night. We'll talk about the Mexican food in just a minute. The next thing you can do is make white chili. So I would use probably half of this, or about 2 cups or 1 pint of the chicken. I would cut it up. I've got my white beans that I canned. That's in a previous video. We talk about that. Onion, assorted spices, and then there's some other things that we would need to find, such as some of the green chili sauce. The next thing that we could do is a casserole. There's a casserole that my kids love. It's basically between 12 and 16 ounces of pasta. Use what you have on hand. This is penne. More often than not, we use macaroni, but this is what I have on hand. This makes about enough for a 9 to 13 casserole pan. Again, use a half a jar or 1 pint or 2 cups of the chicken cut up. Milk, and the recipe typically calls for cream of something soup. You can actually find recipes on the internet to make your own cream of something soup. That's nice because you can use up what you have on hand. You don't have to run out to the store to buy the cream of something soup, and plus you don't get all the extra additives. Now the cream of something soup, in this case chicken, usually involves using broth, milk, a little bit of flour, salt, and pepper. There you have it. And then in that casserole, for a little bit of color and some vegetable, you can actually cut up carrots and put in there. It's pretty good. Again, that's about a 9 by 13 pan. Next thing is chicken enchiladas. Again, use about half a jar or 2 cups, shred it. You're going to season it with taco seasoning, which I usually make my own, out of cumin, cayenne, paprika, chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper and salt. So season the meat, and then you can actually make your own enchilada sauce using the remainder of the tomato sauce. Again, just look for recipes on the internet that you can make using what you have on hand. That's the beauty of the internet these days. You can find a recipe that'll meet your needs based on what you have on hand. And then just use the large burrito tortillas. And then I have cheese from my freezer from a previous, if you watch one of my previous videos on my pantry haul. And then, so you could have the enchiladas, the Spanish rice, and I usually serve it also with refried beans. And if you watch one of my previous videos on canning the beans, I simply just use the pinto beans, cook them in a little bit of bacon fat and perhaps a little bit of sour cream and salt to taste. And there's your refried beans. Okay, the other thing as far as meals that you can do, so between these 3 meals, the chili, the casserole, and the enchiladas, we have used 2.5 jars of the chicken. The other half, my kids like to eat sandwiches sometimes after school if they're hungry. I'm not a fan of sandwiches, but they do like sandwiches. The chicken is a nice break from peanut butter, Nutella, bologna, ham, whatever that we've had this week for sandwiches. So you can make a chicken sandwich with it. If you're feeling really creative, you could probably make a chicken salad, but my kids don't like that. If I have salad fixings on hand, like lettuce and more of the fresh vegetables that you would get in the spring and summertime, you could actually put chicken on your salad as well. So that takes care of the 2 cups, or the 2 quarts of chicken, the chicken stock. Now let's talk about what else you can do. Okay, so we have cat food listed. I do have a cat. She is a feral cat, and I know all of you animal lovers out there are really going to cringe when I say this, but I do feed her table scraps. She was born with, in humans, what we call a cleft lip and a cleft palate. So what that means is that her lip is not fully formed, and neither is her palate, and her mouth is frequently sore, and she's unable to eat the dry cat food. So I do cook for my cat sometimes. I cook her eggs, or I give her pieces of meat that are soft and cooked. So she loves to get the little pieces of chicken out of here. See, there's some here. And she'll eat that along with a little bit of the chicken skin that's in there. And after I pick the meat and the skin off the bones, what I will do is then I take these bones and I bury them in the compost pile. And I'm hoping that after a while it'll decompose and help put the calcium back in the soil. The final thing that you could do with a whole chicken is entertainment. So I don't know how many of you grew up. I was Generation Xer, and the big excitement for us on Thanksgiving and Christmas was getting to break the wishbone. So you do get a wishbone with a whole chicken, and my kids really like this. And again, I've got 3 of them set aside. We haven't broken one in a while. Works better if you dry them out anyway. But we do cook about 1 chicken a month, which gives us 1 wishbone a month. Kids like to play with that. Now, a lot of times we won't cook one meal right after another. That way we don't have to have chicken. We'll put it in the freezer. But on average, I do cook 1 whole chicken a month. It gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 meals. If you count the sandwiches or a salad, that's 6. and it was only $8 for the whole chicken. Plus my cat gets to eat the scraps, and I get to put the bones in the compost pile. So, whole chicken, one of my favorite finds. All right, thanks for watching. If you liked my video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, share my video, leave a comment. Thank you. Have a nice night.